when you're everything to everyone, you're nothing for no one. And when we start in business, and I get it, I remember the early days when I was 18, 19, man, if you were buying, I was building. Like, I was just trying to find a customer. And it was, this is the problem that you run into as a software developer, is you try to sell software and they go, well, I would buy if it did this. And you're like, it does that. And then they're like, cool, $50 a month. You're like, sure. And then you end up spending 15 hours building the features for a $50 a month subscription. And we keep doing this in services or consulting, is that every customer we get, if we don't package a solution and a specific offer, that we're essentially cheap labor. That's the crazy part, is most, in my world, software, they're just a cheap dev shop, because every time they get a new customer, they keep adding new features, and building whatever the person asks. So you're going to have to figure out, and I call it the meaty middle. You want to find an offer that has enough meat on the bones to be able to invest back into your business, and you can't do everything for everybody. Here's the trick for understanding how to price it. This is the game changer, and some of you guys are going to have to change your pricing after I tell you this. You got to charge what you would have to charge if you were paying somebody else to do the work. See what I'm saying? Most people don't do this, especially creatives. They're like, I can design a logo, I can do this, I can edit a video. If you were paying somebody else to edit the video, what would you charge the customer? So that's your price point. And then in regards to the offer has to sound like you know about that person's problem and your solution is full featured. And if it's missing features, the client's going to tell you, and you know how they're going to tell you? Through their objections. So when somebody doesn't buy, they're not saying no, they're saying, I'm not hearing what I would need to hear to say yes. And they're telling you what to add. This is what's cool about sales. If you actually know the dance you're doing with the buyer, you can actually reverse engineer after a few sales calls of them saying no, how to tweak your offer. Again, price it as if you're paying somebody else to do it, and add the features that would have got the people that, like most of them, not just one, but most of them, a yes. And that is the offer. And when you do that, then you have one thing to market. Does that make sense, David? And when you have one thing, you have one customer, you have one thing you're selling, you have one channel for marketing, you have one way to sell, and you do that for 1 year, you will build $1 million business. If you try to sell 3 things, you add complexity cubed, not 3 times harder, cubed, okay? Mathematicians explain to the other people, it's, because we always say, I'm just going to add this new product. You don't realize the marketing has to change, the sales pitch has to change, the case, even if you just go lower on the price point, the buyer of a lower price thing is not the buyer of the middle price thing, and it's not the buyer at the higher end. They're different people with different sets of problems. They want to see different things. So if you want to scale what you're doing, pick the meaty middle, design the offer as if you were going to pay somebody else to do it, take the objections, add those features so it's there, and dedicate a year to one marketing channel, one message, one sales tool, one process, one product, and you literally can make $1 million. And most people that don't is they overcomplicate it.
One of the strategies we had was kind of do an audit first, and then give them a price point after the sales call. Mm-hmm. So do you think that's a strategy we should stay with, or should we change it?
Yeah, the assessment-based sales process, which is what you're essentially describing, I think it's one of the coolest ways to sell, because if you think about it, in your assessment, you're giving them the criteria to make a decision. It's kind of like awesome. It depends what your price point is. What are you selling? How much is it?
Around anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000.
Yeah, so assessment base is better for like 10K plus. It's usually for more bigger companies. You can do that and it works, but it's slower. Because a lot of people, you can just kind of ask them what their vacation is, where do they want to end up, ask them where they're at today, what's in the middle that's getting in their way, and through that conversation, you can get them to make a purchase, okay? But people won't buy from you until they know that the problem that they have and what you can offer is something that will actually solve the problem. The assessment is kind of like a cool way, but it's just a longer, and it's usually a 2-step close where you do the assessment call and then you do the close call to present the solution. That's my 2 cents. Real quick, you've made it to the end. Let me tell you what I know about you. You're not somebody that's looking to do shelf help. You're not somebody that's just doom scrolling on social media. You're here because you want to build a real business, and you're sick and tired of not getting the real insights to grow inside your business. So I want to help you avoid all the pain trying to figure this out the hard way like I did it. That's why I put together everything I've ever learned into the Scale Workbook. It's the internal document that I use with every founder I work with that turns a chaotic business into a money-making machine. And teaching you all of this without burning more hours. It's totally free. The link is in the description, or you can just scan the QR code on the screen because I'm here to help you build your empire.